Am I the luckiest guy ever or what? You'll find out today I get to interview the fabulous Marianna Simonian, a Muscovite, and I just wanted to use that word, Muscovite, who also works in the UAE and comes from the kind of management and HR side, but has an understanding of data analytics. Really fascinating woman, and an interesting conversation where we go into things like, what we're learning in the Quantic EMBA. She's a little bit ahead of me in the course, and the things that we're learning in the EMBA, her experiences in doing the diverse work that she's doing, from startups to working, in a large organization with the UAE, and women in tech, which is a real passion of hers and a great interest of mine. It's a really interesting interview. I'm so honored to be talking with somebody like her. Take a look, and I'll be back afterwards for a little summary. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It's the first time we are meeting, actually.
That's right, that's right. So you're in Quantic, but you are slightly ahead of me, a few cohorts ahead of me.
Yes.
So why? And I'm looking at your rather impressive LinkedIn CV, and I'm like, why is somebody at this point in their life doing an MBA?
Yes. First of all, thank you. Why I'm doing Quantic? Why?
Yeah.
First of all, actually, I love learning. So for me, the process of studying something is where I relax and enjoy the whole process. I love reading books. I love going to different courses, actually what I'm really doing myself. And I have a background of both bachelor degree and master's degree in Russia. Actually, I finished two universities in Russia, and I would say the best ones in economic field. And the first reason is because I love personally studying. And the second reason is because I wanted to move to the international level of educational side, and to get to know the international understanding of quality of education and the business matters and so on and so on.
Now, you come from an economics background, so you knew a lot about that already, but maybe there's terminology that is new to you because of, switching to an international school.
Absolutely. There are lots of new things in Quantic, actually. Yeah. From one side, it's not so deep in terms of economic field.
Right, yeah.
On another side, some matters like, counting, for example, they're deep enough for me because I didn't focus on them previously.
Right. So you studied economics. This fascinates me, how, so when you were 15 years old or whatever, did you say, I'd love to go to university and study economics? How did that happen?
It happened quite easily. Actually, I got a few tests, which is helping a child to understand which type of professions will be good fit. And then also I looked at exams. I looked what type of exams you need to take out. So it was a math. I think it was some basic exams, like maybe English, math, and so on. So I expected to be fit for the education and not to be to feel very hard for that for me. And also it was also quite, general economic field. Then after that, you can choose actually who you want to be.
Right. And I guess economics opens up, a wide field. I was not so clever when I was younger. I was too much, I just want to do what I want to do kind of thing. And so I didn't really study like that. But I can see how economics would really open up a lot of business opportunities, Is that the kind of thing that you were thinking even when you were younger?
Yes, and also, which is maybe important to mention, that was when I was on my age to go to university, it was a boom of management. And I also thought that studying management in the economics field will help me to make a career.
Mm.
So actually, I believe it helped me. This knowledge really helped me. So all is good.
And you're not finished. Have you started on this capstone thing?
Yes, actually, my experience with Quantic is also quite, challenging because
Mm-hmm.
when I started, I met a guy who told me that, you know, I was not on time on a few courses and I left behind. And I thought like this will never happen with me because I finished actually the second of my diploma with honor, and
Mm-hmm.
I love studying, and I thought this will never happen with me. But actually, it happened with me. So the guys with whom I've started, they're finishing already,
Okay.
and I will finish only on summer.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I really felt this stress on the level of the content that Quantum giving.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, initially I didn't feel it, but after some time, when I had also rise of my career, I would say rise of my projects, and this balance of work and life, and
Mm.
at some point, I also become one of those students. But actually, I think it's all really the process of self-knowledge, this education, the Quantic. And for me, it's really important that it's all aligned because I work in IT field, and
Mm-hmm.
I could not imagine myself going for 2 years
Right.
physically. Like it's already something that you don't see yourself. And then in terms of the opportunity, maybe it's also important to mention for those who will be watching us, because I was granted a scholarship from Quantic.
Uh-huh.
And I have some achievements as a woman in tech. And I also support other women in tech in different communities around the world. I'm a mentor for females in tech industry. And that's where Quantic supported me, giving me the discount for the payment. And really, I felt quite motivated for that too.
Mm. Yeah, I think they're a very forward-thinking organization, and I think it's not. I've talked to a couple of people inside of Quantic, and I will say that I think that they are, they're just disruptive. I don't like to use that word, but they are, like they are changing kind of the way education is done, I think. And I also think the way they're approaching it, is really wonderful as well. And it enables people like you and people like me who maybe wouldn't do it otherwise,
Yes.
to get a pretty good education. And the tech behind it is great as well. But I think just all of the things together is really interesting. Like I kind of live in the middle of nowhere. I live in northern Japan in a small town.
Oh,
And, I'm not going to find an MBA that I can do here, in English. And I think to be able to do it and to get a accredited good education is amazing, And one of the things that really appealed to me was that it was people from all over the world.
yes. So we will never meet, probably.
You never know.
Yeah, we never know then.
Yeah, but probably we won't,
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. I love global dynamics like that,
Yeah.
and I've moved and lived all over the world myself, and I'm very interested in how technology affects people who live kind of more remotely, as well as how it affects women. We'll talk about that a bit later, but I think that's all really interesting. And kind of Quantic was it felt natural to do because it offered all those things like that.
Yes.
So how did you discover Quantic, or how did they discover you, whichever way it worked?
I was signed up for the newsletter. I don't even remember how I did that, And I know that they've sent me different emails. And one day, I don't know why, even it was on that period, I saw the information about scholarship. And I thought that, wow, this might be interesting. And then I thought, like, I will try. And if they find me the relevant student, why not? It will be good
Okay.
to be part of that. And then, step by step, it went all right. And maybe 2 or 3 weeks,
Yes.
found myself starting the program. And they are so, they are so sensitive in terms of the timings and opportunities as well. And everything they do is really so comfortable for you. So I feel good, and I feel that it's really the MBA of the now and the future, I would say.
Yeah, that's really well put. I do feel like that as well. I don't feel like we're going to some conventional business school, and the way we're learning, I think, also helps us feel like we're doing something modern,
Yes.
Because the world is so different. I always felt that the MBA program, I always felt it was not related to me, because the way I live and, the way I work and everything like that, I thought that a normal MBA had nothing to do with me.
Actually, me too, because I work in tech and startups. So this is the fields where actual education doesn't make huge sense, specifically MBA.
Because, in our business, because I also, working in tech startups and having a startup and everything, with tech, everything changes so fast.
Yes.
It seemed ridiculous to me to go to a school because by the time you got out, everything would have changed.
Yes.
And that's another thing. I think that we can do it while we're keeping on going,
Yes.
So you said it about tech. I'm really curious about what you do, because it's a bit hard to figure out from your profile, kind of what it is you do. Just maybe you could give me an overall idea about your work in your day.
There are a few areas what I'm doing. Actually, the first thing that I have my own startups. And now there are 2 of them. One of them is media, and the second one is called BART, is a collaborative analytics tool. This is the one area. The second area is the fact that I support women in tech. And I have my own community now supporting women in tech, and we also provide different educational programs. Then what I also do, I have a specialization as a people analytics professional. So HR analytics is like the place where you work with data on HR fields. And the last but not least, I would say, is my contribution to Dubai's 2030 strategy, because I work as country manager for the office called Seed Group, which belongs to the private office of Sheikh bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And the goal of everything I do is the 2030 vision in the region to implement Dubai, one of the best tech places in the world, actually. There are a lot of information about that. And what I'm doing is I'm sourcing and scouting projects, tech companies on the seed plus stage. Actually, the last occupation is really interesting for me and challenging as well, think it helps me to implement some Quantic knowledge, I would say, and to grow in terms of the communications and so on.
Mm. Yeah, it sounds really fascinating. I mean, so you're in Dubai now.
Actually, I'm in Moscow now.
You're in Moscow now.
Yes.
So do you go back and forth?
Yes.
Yeah. That's exciting. I've been starting my own businesses for 20 years, and doing these startups here and there and here and there. And I always felt that I didn't understand the management side of it. So I either worked with a team and they did the management, or I did it by myself and then the management suffered.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons also I was interested to do an MBA. So you were coming at it, I'm assuming from what you said. So you're coming at it from more like the management side. So you partner up with people on the tech side.
Yes. I have a thought regarding that because I also work as a data analyst and in HR, and I practice Python and so on. And I really came to the conclusion that the management is really hard enough in tech. And also that you have to be focused on one thing. You can't be a great manager and a great, Python developer, so to say.
Right. Yeah.
Because there are different ways of thinking that is requiring from you, and you are changing yourself. And once you're becoming a developer, for example, you're thinking in one way. Once you're a manager, you're thinking on another way. So that's why we usually need different people in tech, like product managers, project managers, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, I see it in myself that there are times I go through these phases that are months long, where I'll be like several months where I will not work on the software. Several months I will be working kind of on the business, and trying to do that. And then I will have to go back and look at the software and switch back and forth. And that's very, very emotionally draining to do that. And I don't think people really understand it. People outside of the space don't really understand how difficult that is to do on your brain, to kind of switch from one person to another. And I said to myself, I'm going to stop doing that, but if I stop doing that, what does that mean, for my business and, and which side do I stop? Do I stop on the side of the development, or do I stop on the side of the management? I realize, certainly as I get older, that I'm a very good innovator or inventor, even, I would say, but I'm not technically the best person. I'm not the best software coder in the world. So my skills, I think, are more people skills than software skills. And so do you see that kind of thing as well? Like, how did you develop your interpersonal skills, what we call soft skills? How did you develop that yourself?
That's a good question, because I've mentioned that a few times in my interviews, that in my opinion, the soft skills are the best ones in females, which we as a females can use in tech industries. So, because some of the females are more focused on hard skills, thinking that it will give them with a competitive opportunity. But in my opinion, that it's the soft ones. And for example, if I'm talking about myself, I always felt that communication is one of my best skills. And I always felt comfortable communicating and using kind of soft skills. So it comes natural.
That's an interesting perspective. I'm not going to totally agree with you 100% that it's a woman-man thing.
Right.
But I definitely think it's a personality type thing,
Yes.
and, obviously, like, I spent a long time as a musician, and so I was a musician for a long time. And I think for me, I developed that kind of intuitiveness in all of that, because I was working as a songwriter and things like that. So that kind of intuitiveness, I felt much more comfortable with. And doing this kind of thing, like talking to people, seems to me not so difficult. Whereas, I know a lot of men, it's true, a lot of men, they focus on the technical side, there's a measurable thing that they can do, and, that's their focus. But my personality is not really like that. And I came to software kind of the other way, like the backwards way. So that's a really interesting point, though, about women. I think that women can get caught up in this idea that they have to compete at that because that, the men are fighting over there, so I should go over there and fight with the men kind of thing, which is not necessarily, I think, the right way to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a real shame that there are not more women elevated in tech, because that personality brings something that, is really missing.
Exactly. That's what I'm also thinking.
But, okay, so you're working in these groups with women in tech. How do you think there are steps, or what steps could we take to elevate more women inside of the tech industry?
First of all, we can use data, because if we see through data that, look, we have this amount of women in this industry, in this field, then we will be more transparent on what's going on. And we will talk about that. Actually, maybe it's the second step, to speak up about that, to brighten up this conversation and to talk about the necessity of women to be part of the tech industry.
Mm-hmm.
Third part, actually, what I'm doing a lot is mentoring women, and I've also had my own challenges, still continuing process. I would say that we have to work with women to educate more on the way they can express themselves, on their self-belief, on their belief that they can be part of tech, that they can implement interesting ideas, and so on and so on.
Totally. I totally agree with that. I think that, tech, I was making a video earlier today about economics and technology, and how, as entrepreneurs, kind of the most important thing that entrepreneurs do really is this concept of innovation, and innovation requires changing your perspective. And I think that the more women we have in tech, the more we have a different perspective on things, and I don't know, it's hard for me to somehow voice it properly.
But I understand you. That's exactly what I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
That's not that. There's also, a question whether women are more clever or not clever. But that's not about that. That's the thing, that women can see different things on different ways, and being more helpful in terms of the vision of the new products and so on.
I've always been really interested in this topic about the idea of different perspective, and how women have a very different perspective than men, and how we could commercialize that, even though that maybe sounds negative, but I think it should be brought into business. But I, as a man, don't know what I could possibly do, or even if there is anything that I could do to facilitate that, because it's not like I could join a woman in tech group,
Yes.
So that's, I think, an issue, that there's a division, So what could I do as a man to improve the situation?
I think that even talking with some women in tech, you are helping because some other women will go into your channel, your program, and they will see maybe this video and other videos, and they will find some answers for them. And I think this is by itself is really helpful.
Hmm.
It's a statistic that men applies to job more often when they are not quite fit, but females, they look at the job description and they say like, well, I'm not fit at some
Right.
point, and I'm not going to do that.
Well, that's a very interesting point. That's a very interesting point. So do you think things like taking the MBA also talks to that inner problem, like this?
So, I love our program as well in terms of communications, because I also look up at different women around the world, the way they have their own career. And everyone's career is unique. And it really gives you the opportunity to see bigger picture about the way you can have a career, the women can have a career, and so on.
Yeah. I was saying to somebody the other day that I think that one of the biggest benefits of the MBA is this self-confidence that it gives you.
Yes.
I
feel that. I don't know it's for you, but I feel that.
Because for me, I didn't go to school. Like I didn't get a degree in computer science or anything like that. I don't have a degree. So I've just been, writing software and making businesses, and I've done okay with the businesses. I can't complain. I bought a lot of guitars, but I didn't have the confidence inside that I knew what I was talking about.
I understand.
Yeah, I really think, and it's great for them. I think hopefully, I know that Quantic wants to get more women into the program. That's been told to me. So I think that that's a very important step to make,
I didn't know about that actually, but
Yes.
It should be obvious because of the opportunity they provide. So I have to think about that, maybe to speak up more about Quantic.
Yeah. And I've been told point blank that they want to increase the number of women that are in the program.
Yep.
So it's a goal for them. Trying to think so is there anything you want to pitch on this? You want to tell anybody who's watching about what you do or whatever?
Well, yes, I want to support all females who maybe would like to go to some educational side, maybe to Quantic as well. I think that the opportunity that is Quantic giving is really fantastic. And if you are thinking, then it's better to try. If you have the opportunity to spend the time, just try. And I personally enjoy the journey, and I enjoy the communications, and I'm really happy to talk with you. So just move on.
Great. And what's happening for you next? Like, what are the next things that are coming up for you in your business, in your work, that are interesting?
Yes. For one of my priority startups, we're in the process of making MVP. And the next step is actually going to the market. So
Scary.
And that's it.
Great. Wow. So are you going to tell me which startup this is that's doing that?
Yes, this is the startup called VARD. Go to my LinkedIn, you will see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the product on collaborative analytics for data teams. So basically, this product is helping to reduce the data logistics and to improve communications inside of the teams that is working with data, Just because I work as a data analyst in HR field, I really saw and felt all of those things that is, that is in the market. And this is where I converted my pain into this product.
Cool. Wow. Great. Well, good luck with it. I mean, that's a scary time, right?
Yes.
When you finally show somebody something and they go,
I think you will see that on LinkedIn.
So there we are. As always, a great big thank you to Marianna for taking the time to talk to me. I looked a little bit sleepy. I noticed when I was doing the editing, it was late at night for me. That's my only excuse. I was quite enthralled with what she was saying, especially about the women in tech. You can really see her come alive when she talks about that. Yeah, I'm going to try and get some links from her to put in the description. So if you want to find out what organization she's working with, we'll be able to point you over there. Stay tuned, hit the bell notification, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more interviews of other young up-and-coming EMBA business people. Bye for now.